What is going on, guys? Jason Burke here, Styles Clash for Life, coming at you on YouTube with another edition of The Drive-In, where I watch recently released films and tell you guys whether they're worth watching, worth waiting for, or worth skipping altogether. Today I'm reviewing one that I was looking forward to as soon as I saw the trailer, back about around November, December time. I saw this trailer come out and I figured this looks to be a lot of fun. Continuing in a trend of a style of movies that I grew up on. I'm talking about 2025's Hard Eyes. I know this time of year, January through March, usually horror's been pretty bad. I reviewed The Wolfman last on this channel, and I really destroyed it and hated it, and it was a typical kind of a January horror release. So the fact this was releasing right around Valentine's Day scared me a little bit, but when I saw a few of the names involved, I had to check it out. Talking about Hard Eyes, this was written by Chris Landon, Philip Murphy, and Michael Kennedy. Chris Landon is a personal favorite of mine. You guys know Chris Landon from Happy Death Day 1 and 2, Freaky, Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse. He's done, I think, Disturbia as well. So many really good movies over the years that really blend horror and comedy well. So I thought in seeing the trailer, this was going to be a very nice kind of meta spoof horror comedy. Philip Murphy has worked on things like Freaky as well, also Totally Killer, the Back to the Future horror film. Michael Kennedy, I think, did Expendables 4 as a writer, I believe. And this was directed also by Josh Rubin, who I love from Scare Me and Werewolves Within. He's done a lot of Shudder-related stuff, both as an actor and as a indie film director. He's been right on the cusp of kind of that major release. I love Scare Me. I started talking to Josh back when I had Twitter after Scare Me. Josh is a very good guy, very engaging to people that enjoy his stuff, and just had very good back and forth with Josh. Seen Josh on a lot of comedy stuff, seen him really burgeoning as a horror director, so I was very excited to see that he gets a national studio release to kind of show what he can do as far as blending the horror comedy. He always has loved this style and done very well in it as an actor and as a director. So Chris Landon and Josh Rubin together, sign me up. This film is starring Olivia Holt as Allie and Mason Gooding as Jay. You know Olivia Holt from things like Cruel Summer Season 1. I think she was also in Totally Killer, so she's kind of an emerging horror star. I'm not sure if it was season 1 or 2 on Cruel Summer, but she was excellent in it, and she's just is very likable and very good at being kind of a final girl archetype. So Olivia Holt is somebody I'm going to be watching going forward, and Mason Gooding as well. Mason Gooding, you guys know from, he was in Fall, he was in Let It Snow. Horror-wise, aside from Fall, he was also in Scream 5 and 6, the last two. He's part of the Core 4, Cuba Gooding Jr.'s son. So you got kind of an all-star cast with a good director and good writer. So I was all into this. Now, spoiler-free, it just came out yesterday. Yesterday was the start of opening weekend for this, so I'm not going to spoil anything. It's going to be all spoiler-free. But basically, two co-workers go out together to try and figure out a company project together. They work basically at like a Valentine's company that's trying to sell Valentine products, love products, with a marketing campaign for people to join their network. I guess it's like a dating site kind of thing. But as they have their little meet cute and share their stories about their previous history of love, we come to find out that the Heart Eyes Killer, HEK, that has been killing couples every year on Valentine's Day because they're together, has now come to this small town and is torturing couples in this small town. So the HEK Hard Eyes Killer is now in the town of Allie and Jay, and we've got a survival kind of a whodunit style movie on their hands. Right away when you see this, you think of Scream. It's obviously a little silly, a little meta, a little self-knowing, and kind of obvious in the horror trope condition. But it's done in a really good way. And I think overall, I've got to say, I went out last night to see this with my friends, Lindsay and Brett, and it was one of the more fun, immersive experiences that I've had in a theater in a while. The crowd was pretty full. They were pretty vocal. They were enjoying it. A bunch of friends together laughing. This movie had some genuinely laugh out loud funny moments, just between the dialogue and the reactions of the characters. This was a genuinely funny experience, and I just had fun with my friends and watching other friends just really enjoyed this movie. So yeah, this is definitely a good time. And I gotta say, I'm just happy in general to see kind of the holiday-based 80s style slasher horror come back, and we'll talk about it as we go through. But spoiler-free, that's all I can give you for now. Let me get into the pros here. Number one is genuinely funny. I just said it. It's written pretty slickly. The pacing is fast. The movie runs an hour and 37, so about an hour and 33 with credits. And it doesn't feel like it's even, my friend even said, is this even an hour and a half? It feels like it's an hour-long movie. It's very quick, both in kind of just the way it's cut together and the way the dialogue is written. It's fast-paced. It's all killer, no filler. There's not a lot of just like, they take enough time to build the main characters and give you some secondary character stuff, which are also good. The secondary characters are good in this too, for the most part. But this is a really fast-paced movie that's just you just strap in and it's over before it begins. It's very quick. But yeah, there are some moments in here between the pacing and the dialogue that just make you laugh out loud and just really enjoy it. The next thing I have is chemistry. I really enjoyed the chemistry between Jay and Allie. And I'll just lump this into my next one, cast. I have chemistry plus and cast plus. The cast, aside from Mason Gooding and Olivia Holt, we also had a bunch of other good people. Jordana Brewster's in there. Devon Sawa's in there. You've got a really kind of who's who of between old school kind of drama horror stars and kind of burgeoning ones. And I know how good Olivia Holt is. Again, watching Cruel Summer and seeing her over a whole season, I became a huge fan of hers. And so I'll kind of see anything she's involved in. Mason Gooding, obviously, I'm a big fan of the Scream series. He was fine in Scream 5. He just was kind of there. Scream 6, he had a lot more to do. They spent more time with him and Jenna Ortega's character, and you saw what Mason could be. And I gotta say, both of these two are like emerging horror stars. Mason Gooding in this is really good, and he blends with Olivia Holt very well. And they mean this to be a chemistry-based kind of movie, where these two characters are the central part of the story, and they carry every scene in one way or another. They're involved in the whole thing, and it's a lot of back and forth and a lot of dialogue. And it relies on them to be very good by themselves, but even better with each other. And they do that very well. I really bought into the chemistry and the timing and everything and the charm of Olivia Holt and Mason Gooding. They just stole the show in this. Excellently done. Great chemistry, great cast. Dialogue. This was, again, for me, it's always about a horror balance, horror comedy balance between horror and comedy. But for me, the dialogue was just really good. At times silly, at times even a little too fast paced because they're trying to throw so much in there. But the timing of the actors was just so good. And the way it was written, you could tell it was written based on like actual date experience and actual chemistry that the writers have had with their dates and their partners over the years. That's the way I try and write as well, based on my own dates and things. But really nice dialogue in this movie. The return to simple 80s horror. We had this run in the 80s once Halloween and Friday the 13th came out. We had this run of holiday-based horror where every single year you'd get multiple different things based on genres like vampires and werewolves, and different things based on holidays, Valentine's Day, Thanksgiving, Christmas. And you would get a just kind of a whodunit slasher or just a regular slasher based on every holiday. And we're starting to see that again. We're getting back into that now. The Halloween movies kind of just ended for now. But we have Thanksgiving with Eli Roth now that's going to be happening probably every year because that was a big hit. We have Hard Eyes now, another new Valentine's Day movie because there's only a handful of those that are really good, like Valentine, Cherry Falls, My Bloody Valentine, those. And I can see this being right up there with those. I can see this being a yearly watch because it is a Valentine movie. It's well cast and it's funny. And people can just put it on whether you're a horror fan who likes Olivia Holt and Mason Gooding and you like good kills, or if you like just like dating tropes and old references to old dating movies and funny back and forth and chemistry. You're going to like this if you're a non-horror fan, in my opinion. The diversity of this movie plays to a lot of people because it is genuinely funny. So if you like romance, you get some of that. If you like comedy, you get a lot of that. If you like horror, you get some of that. So there's something for everyone in this movie. But it's nice to see that we're getting back to holiday 80s slashers that are a little more simplistic and a little less elevated than some of the other movies. This doesn't try to be anything it's not. This doesn't try to be an A24 cult film. It doesn't try to be a procedural detective film. It doesn't even try to be that complicated for a whodunit. It's just a fun slasher film. It's got a mystery in it. It's got a little bit of twistiness in it. You can see some of the twists coming. Some are a little better hidden. But it's just going to be a simple, straightforward slasher movie. If you like good characters, if you like funny dialogue, if you like good kills, you'll like this movie. And that takes me to my next positive, kills and gore. For being leaning more toward comedy than horror. This movie still does give you its share of horror in a few really tense scenes. There's some well lit nighttime stuff when the lights go out and they do some things with flashlights and backup generators and things like that. There's some good lighting things in this movie to set the scene where they have some pretty good jump scares. I'm a jumper. I jump at everything. I have a neurologic disorder, but I jumped quite a few times pretty high at this movie. So a few good moments of tension, a few good jump scares, but the kills are really good. You get your fair share of kills that I won't spoil here. A couple were spoiled in the trailer. In my opinion, the best one, or one of the best two, is spoiled in the trailer, and I wish they hadn't done that. I understand why they did it, but yeah, there's a couple really good kills in this movie, even ones you won't see in the trailer, so check those out, because if you like good gore and creative kills, and even using those creative kills to create really cool shots with the camera. They use kills for cinematography, and they use depth of field shots, and they use, peering through things to other things shots in this movie very, very well. So I really, really enjoyed that also. I have a couple cons here. One of my cons is the balance is slightly off. You guys know I talk on this channel about the balance of horror and comedy in my horror comedies, the ones that I like the best, which is funny because usually they're Chris Landon movies. I feel like Freaky and Happy Death Day and Scout's Guide, I feel like some of those are really almost perfect in their balance of horror and comedy. Chris Landon does it very well. This time, I think this team did a little bit more of the comedy than the horror, and not by much. It was so enjoyable that I'm not complaining about this. And I love seeing the team who specializes in comedy getting a chance to do a big budget one. But I feel like this was a little bit less horror and more comedy for my taste. I would say it was probably 70-30, and it could have been 60-40. I would have liked 10% more horror in my horror movie to make it a little more balanced. It wasn't quite perfect for me. That being said, the horror was still good. There was still some good jump scares and gore, and there was still a lot of good comedy. So I'm not complaining too much, but the balance does veer more toward comedy than horror, which is going to appeal to horror comedy fans and comedy fans more than straight horror fans. In my last negative, some of the background characters were a little overdone. There were some moments of cheesiness between the glowing hard eyes, some of the lingering shots on the mask, a couple of the lines of dialogue. The dialogue was very well done overall, but a couple lines of dialogue and a couple characters were a little bit too over the top for my taste. I mean, it's meant to be tongue-in-cheek and meant to be silly at times, and it was. But Crystal Kane in particular, and also Devon Sawa's character, he plays a deputy in this. Those two were a little over the top, and that's nothing against the actors. I love Devon Sawa, and I like the actress playing Crystal Kane, but some of the delivery and some of the over delivery and over lingering on their face shots and stuff was a little bit too silly for my taste. Again, it's the balance of horror comedy. When things go way over the top, I get taken out of it. It wasn't enough to kill my experience because, again, the other elements of the film were so strong that I wasn't taken out of it. But I think Crystal Kane and Devon Sawa in particular were too much in this film, and I think that's more so about the writing and direction than the actors. But that being said, it wasn't anything that's going to ruin your experience for this. The mystery overall is solid, not special, not super surprising for me, but a fun little mystery. And they give you a couple nice little false finishes toward the end of the film as well. So overall, I had a very good experience with this. It's crisply written, it's fun, it's fast-paced, it goes by very quickly. The horror, when it's horror, it's good horror. When it's comedy, it's very good comedy. And I think you guys will enjoy it. I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10. If you've seen it, please tell me in the comments down below what you think of it. Do you like the balance of horror comedy in this, or am I being a little too harsh? Again, overall, really good experience, 7 out of 10. If you guys want to see a more spoiler review or talk spoilers, please do so in the comments down below so we can talk about this. And let me know what other films are coming out in theaters very soon that you guys want me to check out. Chris Landon's next directing effort is coming out here very soon called Drop. And I'm very excited to watch that one because that looks like another horror comedy that's based a little more in horror, and it's a little more Chris Landon's kind of main style. So looking forward to that one as well. Check this one out. I don't know if it's going to wind up being a top 10. Right now, it's the best thing I've seen in theaters this year. Not sure if it's going to wind up being top 10 by the end of the year, but definitely for sure, even though it's February, I think one of the most fun and immersive experiences I will have in theater this entire year. So if you want to have a good time with your friends and watch a horror comedy, this might be the one for you. Please like, share, and subscribe these deep dives, and let me know what you want me to review next, and I will see you guys soon. Stay scared.